Hello, I'm Adrian Tonone, and welcome to Borders Kitchen. In today's fast-paced environment, timing is of the essence, yet quality is crucial. Nigella Express captures exactly this. Nigella, your presence here is an absolute honor, and
thank you.
Tell us a little bit about how you superseded your each and every performance with this book.
Well, the really funny thing about this is that I wasn't planning to write this book. I had another book I thought I was going to write. And I was in my kitchen one day, and I was looking at one of my notebooks because I'm such a food obsessive that I just write notes of every meal I cook. And I also, I have to say, being a very untalented photographer, take photos as well. And I was looking through, and of course, because I work and because I have children, most of the things I cook have to be done fast. And I was looking at my notebooks in the kitchen, and I thought, well, my book's here. You know what? This is what I should be doing because I need food like this, and there are other people out there like me who need food like this. In other words, I've never made a secret of this. I love food, I love eating. I don't want to have to sacrifice quality just because I'm a bit sort of pushed for time. So this came about naturally, and it just flowed. My sister teased me because she said that, I don't know, you've got young children, so you might know the reference, but she said it was like in Wallace and Gromit when they're building the tracks as the train is approaching, and writing this book was a bit like that, as is only appropriate for a book called Nigella Express. I was practically writing it as the printers were printing it. But actually what I wanted to do with this book is show that there are so many ways of making your life easier in the kitchen. One is that you cook things which are just very, very quick to make and simple, and the other is you make things which maybe take a couple of hours in the oven, but the actual preparation time is pretty well instant. So in other words, don't concentrate just on the cooking time, but what does it ask of you? There are times when you need to be at home over, weekend, you're doing something or supervising your kids do something. So what do? You just put something in the oven that's quick. You can concentrate on getting all the other jobs you need doing done, and it just makes your life easier. So in a way, I feel, it's always different when you say fast food because everyone thinks that it's food that hasn't got that quality. But I'm a greedy person, so I don't want one meal to be less than delicious. Otherwise, what a waste.
But this is not always what you want to do. I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
When, say you're 10 years old, picture yourself, you're 10 years old, and one of your parents' friends, they come up to you and they say, Nigella, what do you want to do when you grow up? What would you have answered?
I think I wanted to be a novelist. Luckily, obviously, I abandoned this line of work. I used to think I wanted to write the great novel of the 20th century, and then the 20th century came and went, and I thought, I don't know, the great novel of the 21st century, is this going to happen? And then when I feel that writing about food, I found my voice, and I think that's all a writer can hope to do. And I think the interesting thing about writing about food is that it takes in so many different sorts of writing. Because on the one hand, you do have to remember it's a manual, but also there is something autobiographical. And in a way, it's almost like writing a novel in some respect, or at least maybe it's more like writing short stories, I'd say, because each recipe has to exist in a way as a story, as something that the reader can take the reality of, not just the mere formula. I would never want to write recipes that just started 1 cup of flour, 2 eggs. I think the important thing about writing about food is evoking the food and somehow making the experience real. Well, I didn't ever think I would have a career doing what I do. But I think what's interesting about that is that, in a way, those of us who are lucky enough to do jobs we love often find that kind of like the job finds you. You can't set out to say, I'm going to make food programs and write food books. It just didn't happen like that. I think a lot of life is just, it's not about planning.
Absolutely.
It just sort of happens. And I feel a bit about the same about cooking, which is that a lot of the things I love the most, they come about because you open the fridge and this is what you've got there, and so you make a recipe around it. And that's exciting. I think you can't, in life or in the kitchen, you can't absolutely say from the beginning, what is this I'm going to be making? What am I going to be doing? And it just happens. It's part
Especially
opportunity.
If you're passionate about
yeah,
it.
it is. It's part opportunity and part your own inclination, I suppose.
So many amazing things have happened in your career over the year. Is there anything that really stands out that has been the most memorable to you as of today?
Well, I think you never, if you start being a journalist when you're young, you never lose that sense of thrill when the first time you see your own byline in print. And I suppose that is the great thrill. But this thing which a few months ago was in scrappy notes with, you know, grease stains on in the kitchen, and we did the photographs for this in my home, and sometimes I'd get a dress out of the cupboard and use that as the tablecloth if I thought it would look nice under something. So that suddenly becomes this solid entity, a book, and that's such a thrill.
Never gets old to see your face on the cover of a beautiful cookbook.
Well, it's not even the face, it's just the entity of this, and you look through and, you know, and I look through and see the pictures, and I can remember exactly doing, you know, what we were doing at the time and how we did it, and whether you had an idea to put something and someone's there standing up, holding up that bit of a hanging. And I always try and write about recipes that mean something in my life, and so I think it's never, to me, it's never an assignment, it's always part of my life. Well, I'd give up, I think, if it just felt like a task. I feel it's like a joy.